Hello everyone, it seemed like it went pretty well describing the heroes in 3 words, so we're going to describe all of the bosses, and I do mean all the bosses, all DLCs, in 3 words. So let's get after them. As always, if you like the channel, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. I really enjoyed discussions before, and if you want to support me, the Patreon link is in the description now. On to the first boss. Necromancer. Too bone-headed. Yes, the Necromancer, though he may summon bony companions, he is just quite frankly not a very strong boss and probably should have chose a different profession / power in death, because he's not very good at what he does. He is easily pulled forward and smited to death because of his unholy stature. So at the end of the day, just a little too boneheaded by him. Prophet. Easy damage reduction. Honestly, I've really never had many issues with the Prophet. There's a lot of ways to deal with him, and his only crushing ability, literally crushing ability, is Rubble of Ruin, and if he reduces damage by a good 60 to 80%, he does maybe on average 5 to 10 damage even at champion level. So for the most part, you get a leper, you set him front row, you can chip through all the pews if you want, or you can just focus fire him down, but he's pretty useless. The Hag. One trick pony. I won't lie, I often rag on the Hag, look at that, little rhyme. But she really is a one-trick pony. She got me maybe the first and maybe the second time in my first playthrough. Ever since then, I've really never lost somebody to Hag, and if I had, it was because of terrible healing RNG luck. And quite frankly, she can go make her stew out of something else. Brigand Pounder. Deadly or useless? The duality of the Pounder is so painful. It's either something you absolutely fear because everything go against you, but for the most part, if you have a competent party, it's really never an issue. So it's one of those things where if everything goes wrong, it can absolutely be devastating, or it's generally a slow and boring boss. Swine King, too much bacon. Just what a large boss. Just 3 rows, nice good old girthy size, got that meat cleaver. He just really needs to slim down there. Wilbur, the hype man, or if you like another option, for the achievement. I really couldn't decide which one I liked. I liked the hype man a little more, but at the end of the day, there is an achievement associated with Wilbur, so you know what, you might be enticed to let something happen to get that, because I know I did. But at the end of the day, Wilbur's he's the hype man and also essentially the damage enabler for the Swine King. He's the little bugger you want to get rid of, but obviously you get rid of him, the meaty Swine King does come down with some furious wrath. Formless flesh. How many hearts? Honestly, it gets a little concerning at one point on how many hearts the formless flesh can actually shape into. So at the end of the day, it is a good question. Just how many hearts does that flesh have sitting around? Siren. 2-round stand. Yeah, it's a cheap play on words for a one-night stand, but your fellow compatriots will usually end up being against you for at least a minimal of 2 rounds. And depending on who she takes for those 2 rounds, those are going to be the most laughable or some of the most tear-creating moments you probably remember. Oh, that's funny. You have a leper? Now you don't. Oh, the leper's in the front row. Oh, you beefed him up with revenge. Oh, your first character is now on death's door. Or, you do the antiquarian strat, it actually works, and you laugh at her ability to try to hurt you. The crew. Poor boarding party. I've never really been impressed by the crew ever since I found a couple of ways to beat them reliably. They used to give me trouble, and the sole fact I picked really slow characters. That way the anchor actually got its full use. But once I started picking slightly faster people and realized the anchor guy, before he latches onto you, actually has a fairly low stun resist and can be stunned up before he even ever gets to do heave-ho. So they're a pretty poor boarding party, all things considered. Shambler. Time to leave. I don't know if I voluntarily do many Shamblers once I get the Ancestral Map and the Ancestral Candle. I did obviously do it all for the Ancestral Trinkets once, but I really never went much past that. Quite frankly, them and their little tentacles can enjoy that Shambler altars of there, and I will gladly keep my torch. Don't mess with the Shambler. Collector. A better Necromancer. In all honesty, the Collector, when he's not getting surprised first round, is typically a better boss than Necromancer in my mind. His minions actually do way more useful thing than the Necromancer, and even if you pull the Collector forward, I believe he always throws himself to the back, which is something the Necromancer cannot say. Collect some heads, collect some prizes, and just imagine this guy is the true Necromancer. The Fanatic. Oh, this boss. this boss. I mean, there's a couple of ways to beat it decently well. That's a separate topic / video, but your first couple times fighting the Fanatic, this is what the Hag should have been. Not only does he have a Hag component, obviously with the Pyre, but his normal damage stuff is just way impeccable as well. So this is what the Hag's potential could have been, but you get like baby Fanatic compared to this guy. I mean, he's the real deal. The Thing from the Stars, not going here. This boss is a nightmare, and I honestly, without like just taking in 2 shield breakers, there's a couple other ways to do it. It's almost a dungeon ruiner, and the stuff you get from it's not really worth it. So if I see the Thing from the Stars roaming in a certain dungeon, I tend not to pick it just based on the fact I like to have a party diversity and not have to worry about this thing just causing horrible amounts of stress and giving me diseases. Brigand Vvulf. Protection isn't fair. Yes, the Vvulf is not very strong once you get someone to like 80% protection. The bombs do hurt, but once you have 80% protection, not so much. It's not like they're armor piercing, it's not like there's a lot of DOT. He guards other people's. The protection mechanic really screwed him in this game. Sorry, Vvulf. Shrieker, can't touch this. No. Alright, that's all I'm going to do about that. You can continue that little jingle on in your head if you would like. The Shrieker has the highest dodge in the game. There are ways to reduce that, or you just insanely buff your accuracy, but your first time going to the Shrieker without knowing that, you look at that accuracy and you might want to cry just a little bit, because I know when I took in my medium accuracy friends without a Jester, it was a horrible fight. Crocodilian. This was Apprentice? Yes, this boss has an Apprentice, a Veteran, and a Champion level, and they are all soul crushing, skull crushing, morale crushing, and apex predator crushing. Probably one of the hardest bosses in the game at any stage in the game. There's a couple of parties that work really well against it, but I don't usually dare deviate from them because of the damage output, the dodge output, the protection output, and the row diversity this thing can function from. Way too dangerous. Baron. A long party. The Baron, kind of like a party. You know, sometimes you enjoy them for the first hour, and then the second hour they go a little, and then by the third hour, you're done with that party, but the Baron doesn't let you. A boss with literal axe within his boss fight. It just takes a long time, it's slow and tedious. Not my personal favorite, but he certainly draws it out. Viscount. Forgot about HP? Honestly, this is kind of like the Hag, except worse. They didn't give the boss HP. I have a video of me, I think, defeating the boss by the start of round 3. And that's because the first round I was literally increasing the damage to as much as I could. So about a damage and a half round. And this boss already hit the floor. Not really that difficult. And I kind of wish they gave just a little more HP to this boss. That would have been way better. The Countess. Redhook strikes back. Most of the bosses above have a party that's fairly reliable and you can take care of easily. But the Countess is still one of those bosses where she doesn't follow basic gameplay mechanics, and I'm afraid that Redhook decided to make this boss really dumb. Has kind of their last hurrah. High HP, high protection, doesn't necessarily follow all the mechanics of riposte, and can do the only shuffle mechanic I think in the game. So she is certainly brutal, and I definitely do not like her as a boss. So all jokes aside, I think this is Redhook's revenge against people who thought the game was too easy. Guardian, dumb as bricks. This boss, honestly, I'm not sure why they just didn't have a random medium dungeon for you to find the trinket. This boss is so boring to grind over and over and over again. All you do is pick 3 shield breakers, you destroy the protection, then you just attack the boss till it dies. The fight's dumb. It just, I don't know. I'm very unimpressed with this fight. I feel like it was just kind of added in, obviously, to get all of your Crimson Court items. Other than that, I'm so glad this was not part of the main story, because it was so blech. Miller, meet my scythe. Oh, the Miller. Fighting this guy first time. Man, it makes me just want to take in, like 2 highwaymen and just repose this mother trucker. But he certainly has some really good abilities with the reaping. And he has some interesting summons as well. He's a really good boss, but also kind of fair. Sometimes I can nuke him quickly, and then other times he's just a pain in my butt. The Sleeper. Praying for criticals. Most likely you make it to the sleeper, you're probably running a shield breaker in there somewhere, or at least a highwayman / jester, so there's a point where you're just hoping to get through that massive pile of HP and slight protection, because each attack is just too devastating to let on. Whenever I see the sleeper, I pray for the critical RNG luck to get through that fight quicker, so I have some attempt to continue throughout the dungeon. Thank you for watching. If you made it to the end, as per normal, please let me know which 3 words you would like to describe each boss in. These ones were a little more serious because there's so many ways to take them. I was kind of trying to relate them back to normally how they function, but some were obviously for fun. Thank you for watching. I'm looking forward to that discussion below.